Welcome to the Everything Co-working podcast. This is your host, Jamie Russo. Thank you for joining me today. Today's topic is looking a little ways ahead, but you might have just experienced the same pain that I did, which is making me think ahead to summer. We just had a full week off for winter break, and we had some challenges. My daughter is a gymnast, and she had to be in town for practice on Tuesday and Thursday because she had a meet on Saturday. And I talked to her coach about, we also have a meet over spring break. And she is a competitive gymnast, but not like the junior Olympic track. She's on the Excel track if you have a gymnast in your household. So we're not going to the Olympics, and we take it very seriously. But on the other hand, we would like to have our breaks. So we had a little talk with the coach about scheduling meets over breaks. One of the spring break one she does not have control over, but the winter break one she did. So the problem here with being in town is then we don't schedule time off as a family. So we're kind of working, and my daughter's at home and she doesn't have anything to do. Then suddenly she needs a ride to, go with a friend, and she doesn't really compute that I'm working, and even though she's off. And so it's a challenging week, which made me think ahead to summer and how that challenge is going to last for months on end. So it made me think about summer for co-working spaces. And if you've been running a co-working space for more than a year, so you've been through a summer season, you've probably noticed that the summer can bring a bit of a vibe shift, maybe for you in your own personal life and in your business life and who's showing up at your co-working space. So it's possible that one minute your space is buzzing, everybody's in for like the spring get it done momentum, and then the next minute half of your members are posting vacation pics from the beach or from summer camp with the family, while your once packed flex desk area starts to feel like a ghost town. Now, you might also be on the flip side. So for some of your spaces, summer means slow down, which is hard. But for others, if you're in a vacation destination or, a city that happens to attract remote workers, you might get a spike in demand. So before we dive into today's strategies, take a second to think, which, category are you in? Does your space get quieter in the summer? So you need to start thinking about how are you going to cover that lost revenue? So we're going to talk about some ideas on how to stabilize your revenue and create some more predictable revenue for the summer. Or do you actually get a summer rush? And if that's the case, do you need to start thinking now about how you're going to take advantage of that so that you're ready for it and don't feel like you're missing an opportunity when we get there? And if you haven't been open for a whole year yet, then you might know which category you fall into. Start thinking ahead, because marketing plans, getting new programs in place, all of those things take time. You cannot spin them up, in the moment when you realize, oh, I need more cash, or, oh, I had an opportunity here to really capitalize on being in a tourist destination, but I didn't plan ahead. So I'm here to try to help you to start thinking about the summer. And I am actually in Northern California, where we are incredibly blessed to start seeing things bloom in February. I was walking the dogs yesterday and sending my mom pictures of the blossoms that are starting to come out on the trees. It still blows me away. As someone who grew up in upstate New York and then spent 15 years in Chicago, the weather here is wild. So the key is preparation. So we're going to talk today about 3 potential revenue strategies that might help your cash flow over the summer, so that you can go into the summer feeling at least that you've done everything you can, you've prepared, and you feel confident that you've prepared, instead of crossing your fingers and kind of hoping for the best, or just not thinking about it at all and getting into the moment and being like, why was I not thinking about this sooner? I know what it's like to be a business owner. I am also one. I operated co-working spaces for 8 years. It's always hard to be thinking ahead, right? It's our goal. It's what we do. I should mention, for our program members, we have a Q2 planning session coming up. So make sure you check your email and watch out for that, because that can be, a little time to just do that strategy work and start thinking ahead about summer strategies. Okay, so strategy 1. build or grow your virtual mail program. So, I'm passionate about building your virtual mail program because, yes, it's admin work. Yes, there are lots of things you have to figure out to get it started. But by and large, most people feel it's totally worth it. It creates consistent revenue that you can pretty much count on. Once you get that program up and running and you put some real focus against it, you get your referral partners on board, you'll start to see that business grow and you'll get a sense for kind of what your net new members are every month. And this business really compounds on itself. So it's like, investing in your 401k. You want to start today because it starts small, but then it builds. And the retention rate on a business address is pretty long because it's a pain in the butt to change all of that. So I just signed up for a business address with Pillar Coworking, which is across the bay from me. So I'm excited about that. I finally got sick of sending invoices with my home address on it. I know I always use my CoworkingSpace address and just haven't gotten around to figuring out where my address should be. So I am thrilled about that. So if you don't have a virtual mail program in place, get started, get something set up, get your organic plans set up on your website, list them on your Google business address, start figuring out how to be a commercial mail receiving agency and follow all those rules. We are going to run our Mailbox Moneymaker Challenge again. Stay tuned for the date. If you want some help getting this set up, you can go to mailboxchallenge.com and get on the wait list. We go through how to set up a program and how to maximize your revenue. We provide landing page templates, all the goodness, and step-by-step support to get you set up with your own organic plans and with referral partners. But you can just do it yourself. We have the overview on how to set up the plan in our Community Manager University. So if your community manager is in there, they can ask all the questions they want about setting up a virtual program. We have questions about mail all the time. As a matter of fact, tomorrow, the day after I'm recording this, we have a special Q&A with William Edmondson from iPostal One, who's going to keep us up to date on any CMRA updates and answer any questions about mail. So if you're in our community manager program, get started and come in and ask all the questions. Put it on your community manager's Q2 goals and you'll be up and running. And you may not see, you may not have this instant cash flow for the summer, but this will serve you well in the summers to come. And you'll start building for this summer and it will help replace some of the cash flow that you might lose in the summer. But also it's just a great, compelling reason to get your butt moving and get you committed to getting that plan in place. And if you have a virtual mailbox plan in place or virtual membership, there are lots of different ways to approach virtual memberships, but we're usually kind of focused on folks who want to use our address or want access to the space, to have a business identity, address plus meeting rooms, etc. So if you already have a plan in place, this might be the perfect quarter to refocus, make sure you're marketing, make sure you're selling this service to your existing members, promoting it to your newsletter list, promoting it on social, adding a referral partner if you haven't signed up with the key referral partners, taking a look at your pricing, making sure your landing page and your sign-up workflow. If your virtual plans are not e-commerce enabled, then this is the time. Get that set up so that people can check out and buy those plans online. So optimize those so that you can start growing that revenue even more for the summer. So we love virtual memberships because it's revenue that's pretty consistent once you get that program started and usually will build on itself over time. It requires no physical space except a filing cabinet to store your mail. And it has good margins. Again, you're going to pay out referral fees and you're going to pay your team to sort the mail. But even after that, a team or a part-time mail person to manage the mail. But I'm telling you, most people who run these programs think it's completely worth it. So if you don't have a program yet, put it on your Q2 plan, get on the waitlist for our Mailbox Moneymaker Challenge at mailboxchallenge.com. And if you already have a program, it's time to start really focusing on that. I have one other idea for you around virtual plans for the summer. You may have existing Flex members. I'm going to focus on Flex members because I'll assume that you have some sort of terms in place for your office members and that your office members in general don't disappear for the summer. So your office revenue is probably pretty consistent, but you may start to lose Flex members because your Flex members are like, well, I'm not going to be here for July and August, so I'll just cancel or, hold, pause, whatever you let them do for the summer, which is really hard, right? Because you've got some, revenue line that exists of your Flex memberships. And if in general your market takes a dip and is not a tourist destination, then you're going to see a loss for your co-working revenue, or a decrease, I should say, for the summer. So what you might do is put in a policy that says, we'll let you hold, but we're going to put you on our virtual plan for the summer so that we're not offboarding you. We're leaving you in our system and you can still receive mail, et cetera, to the space. So you could give them a tangible benefit. You might even say, and, we're going to automatically give you a free upgrade to our premium virtual membership, which also gives you some meeting room time and day passes if you still need a little bit of access to the space for the summer, but not full-time access. Or you might even bundle like a virtual plan with a punch card, plan for the summer. So play with this to see what might work for you as a way of retaining some revenue from your Flex members. So potentially, instead of saying, yeah, you can just cancel for the summer, say, look, here's what we'd like to do for you for the summer, make it lower than their co-working fee so that it's compelling, but, keep your address, keep you in the system. Speaking of which, the one way this works better is if you have a setup fee, and you should consider a setup fee. People get surprised when they're starting a space when we say, hey, you should have a setup fee. Think about I was even listening to there's a setup fee for setting up your phone and committing to Verizon for the rest of your life. There's setup fees for everything. And I think sometimes we get really sensitive about nickel and diming and having too many different line items on an invoice because some of us don't want to, so you don't want to operate that way. But there are real costs associated with adding new members to the system and certainly then offboarding them for the summer and onboarding them again. So charge a setup fee. It might be, $100 a person, depending on the level of your membership. Maybe it's $50 for a Flex member, but there should be some fee for them to offboard and then onboard again. So you could say, look, instead of this $50 onboarding fee, why don't you do our virtual plan? That way you get to maintain your business address, you stay in the system as a member, you keep your access to the Slack group and, member announcements. And, again, maybe you throw in some other bonus, like some day passes, et cetera. So play with that and see what works for you. But you might consider some sort of, that downgrade plan for your members who are trying to leave you for the summer. So the second strategy I want to talk about for the summer so that you can start thinking ahead. And this can work with if you're new, or you could create a new membership that you start funneling new members into. You don't have to grandfather your existing members into it, but you might consider finding a way to offer an annual membership option. So it might be, depending on your space and what you offer and whether or not you have a niche, et cetera, this may not be a no-brainer for you. It might take some creative thinking, or you may not feel like it makes any sense. But we have a member of our startup school who's doing this. He will absolutely get on the podcast and talk about his launch. He just launched in December, so we're going to give him a little time to get rolling. But he has a specific niche that is kind of weather dependent. And so his approach, and I think he can do this because he has a niche space. He's catering to a very specific audience, and he has pre-sold his space and done his launch marketing extremely well. He has an excellent product market fit, and he has a lot of demand for his space. So he is requiring annual memberships for his non-office members. I can't remember what his office terms are. They may be similar, but his flex members have to commit to a year because it is somewhat weather dependent. And so he would have everyone cancel during the summer and then come back for the winter. And he does not want that variability in his business model and his revenue. So he said, okay, this is what we're going to do. You're a flex member. You have to sign up for an annual membership or you don't get to join. And I think this is brilliant. Again, you can only do this if you can find a way to make it relevant to your members, because I've also done podcasts about how commitment phobic people are, how it's really hard to get them to commit. And, you have to think about pricing your flex passes in a way that encourage your members to commit to ongoing recurring memberships versus buying day passes, et cetera. So I want to acknowledge that this is not that easy for many of you, but you might have a way to do it. And getting folks on an annual membership can bring so much value when you don't have people leaving for the summer. So are there bonuses that you can offer? Do you have could you create a really compelling package that is just such a no-brainer for your members? Think back to like when you did your founding members launch. You probably did some pretty exciting things like a special event for your founding members, or maybe free consulting with some of your members who are business coaches or, have some sort of legal service. You could still go ahead and create those packages and bundle them into an annual membership that is worth more than just the Flex co-working membership. And it doesn't have to be a full-time membership, because even if you maintain, those 10-day-a-month folks, there's a lot of value in that for keeping that revenue in July and August, or even June, or even December. I mean, people try to pop in and out all the time, right? So especially if you're in a smaller market where people aren't inclined to sort of, space hop and cancel out of one community and try a new community because they have so many options nearby. If there are not a lot of options in your market, I think you could totally make this happen. You might also even simply make this happen by giving a decent discount for an annual membership. If you're not offering that, it's worth it. I like the bonuses because, again, if you give a month free, you're basically giving away July anyway, right? Or December anyway. So try to create a bonus package. The nice thing about the bonus package, too, is that it could promote other members, so you don't have to deliver the bonuses. Again, this could be business coaches in your space, attorneys in your space, accountants in your space, other people who would love to, do a 30-minute session with your team. Or it might be fun things like swag, or, a special lunch, with only your annual members. Or it might be access to the event space for one event per year. It could be perks with other local businesses, like a 50% discount on a massage, or, something with a local coffee shop. You can get creative on those, but think about what you might bundle to get folks to sign up for an annual membership. And here's what I want you to think about. This may not work that well on new members, right? Because the new members may just really be stuck in that commitment phobic segment. But it might work on folks who were commitment phobic, but now they've been a member for a little while and it's in their routine, and now they know they're going to stay. So if you gave them some incentives to just go ahead and sign up for the whole year at once, it might work. So don't get discouraged if it doesn't work with new members, but it might be something that you have on an automation to offer to existing members after 3 months, for example. So you could have it kind of do that on a rolling basis. Okay, so we talked about that a little bit. Strategy number 3. Create a summer-only flex pass or a BOGO. Okay, so this strategy, I want you to think about if you tend to have a little bit of a slump during the summer, or if you have a lot of opportunity in the summer. So how can you start marketing something flexible for folks who are not going to be in town that much, or for folks who are going to be in town, but they're not long-term members, they're visiting family, and they still need to get some work done, or they're traveling. I think there's still a lot of people who do longer-term travel because the pandemic taught us like, oh, we can, go abroad for a month and keep working. But maybe that's really hard to do at the Airbnb, and you need to get out and you need to find a place to work. Or we even have folks in our operator membership who just live in really great seasonal locations where people have summer homes and they come in for the summer to spend time with family, but they still need to work and the house is kind of mayhem and they're staying with the in-laws or whatever. So start thinking now, if you have, one of those markets where you're going to benefit from the summer, make sure you're kicking your marketing into high gear in advance of the summer so that people who are starting to plan, May, maybe early June, you're really getting in front of people and getting those offers out and doing a little bit of extra marketing. And this may be a good time to be running Facebook ads because you have something really specific that you could offer. It's a limited time, pass that you're offering. So you might offer a pass that you don't offer other times of the year. So maybe you don't offer a 10-day pass or usually, but you're going to offer one that can only be used from June to August. Or maybe you're going to offer, the remote worker summer pass and market it as great for hybrid workers who want to escape from home. What I would be thinking about is creating something really compelling that either just solves a problem, like it may just be enough to offer it and talk about it a lot and connect the dots, right? Start connecting those dots to your audience in advance so that they're ready to sign up for it and that they know it's a solution when they arrive and it's not halfway through the summer when they figure out you exist and can solve their problem. And it might even be that you're targeting, locals who have guests coming, and the locals don't want the guests in the house all day long. They need a break too. So they might, buy it for their guests or at least tell them about it. So just make sure you're really getting out on social. I would encourage paid ads for something like this. So it might be time to hustle it out and take a Facebook ads class. Organic Facebook and Instagram marketing is very challenging because approximately 10% of your audience is seeing your messages. So if you have a really targeted promotion, like something for the summer, you're going to want to put money against it. Boosting your ads does not have the same impact. You really want to do it through the ads manager. So you want to take a class and do it through the back end. You could find somebody to do it. It can be really expensive and you're not going to know if they know what they're doing. So I encourage you to at least take a class so that you know what you're getting into if you hire somebody. The other thing I love to think about for the summer, so two things. One, really connect the dots on the pain points because I think, parents, you might do this with current members, and this gets into the sort of tell a friend. I really think the summertime is such a good time to get people to share co-working with their friends. So connect the dots for current members, get them thinking like, hey, summer's coming up. It'll reinforce the fact that they need to keep their co-working membership if they're not traveling for the whole summer. Again, there's not a lot we can do if people are traveling except to downgrade them and maintain some revenue from them over the summer. But if, kids are at home, maybe there's a babysitter at home or a nanny at home, or there are teenagers at home, which is so hard because exactly what I just talked about with winter break, the kids, don't really process that you're working and cannot be at their beck and call, getting them snacks and driving them to their friend's house. Like you really need to disappear in order to not be on the hook for those things, even if it's a few days a week or a couple of days a week. And parents, forget that pain if they're not in it. So start reminding them what that's going to be like. If you're a space that can offer programs for kids, that's amazing. That's not a lot of you, but there might be some of you. Maybe you create some sort of partnership. If there's somebody local, like if you happen to be next to a school or a camp, then you create sort of a marketing bundle with them. Like, hey, the kids can go here during the day and you can come here and get your work done. It's really about connecting those dots and letting people know that you can solve this pain point that they have for the summer. So you just find something that you can market that you feel like really fits your market for the summer. So again, it might be a lighter commitment than, what's usually required. So maybe it's a 10-day or maybe it's 10 half days or 20 half days because, you get the parents who can come in the morning and then camp ends at whatever time and they have to leave and go get the kids. And so mentally they feel like paying for a whole day, they're not getting the total value out of it. I know this drives us nuts, but it happens. So you might do something like that. Really meet your members where they're at. If you know your members don't want to pay for the whole day, then sell them instead of a 10-day pack, sell them 20 half days. Okay, and back to the share with a friend. I just think that the summer is a beautiful time to do a BOGO. Kim Lee, who runs the Forge in Birmingham, Alabama, does this every year. She and her team do, and it works really well for them. So a BOGO is buy one, get one. And she gets a lot of teachers and other folks who aren't working for the summer or have some sort of different routine for the summer who the way she does it actually is buy 1 month, get the next month free. I love that. I also love the idea of you buy one and get the other one for your spouse or for a friend. I think introducing friends who work together is so compelling. I've probably mentioned this, but I joined a gym. It's called Basecamp Fitness, and it's kind of like an interval training gym. It's very well run. I'm really impressed with it. If you listen to the podcast, I'm often not impressed with the way things are run. And they just do a fantastic job at onboarding members and creating community. So they constantly are marketing, bring a friend, bring a friend. They do this because they know pretty much everybody can think of a friend who would love it at base camp. It's a really smart workout, but so I won't go into the details, but pretty much everybody should be able to think of somebody who would be a great coworker, either who could use an office or a business address or a flex desk. But you have to encourage them to tell them. You have to keep reminding them. You have to give them incentive. Even I can think of friends who, and I'm not a full-time member at the gym, so doing these challenges is hard for me because I don't want to go every day. I want to do CrossFit the other day, so I'm not a good example. But this current promotion they're running, if you go every day in March, you get a ticket to give to a friend for a whole month free, which is a pretty big deal because it's a few $100 to go full-time for the month. So that's a huge incentive. I even almost thought about doing it, honestly. I do have one friend who I think would really like base camp. I have more than one, but there's one in particular. And I was like, wouldn't it be awesome for me to give Monica this free month at base camp? So they're constantly running these challenges or promotions about bringing a friend because it's a way to remind people to tell their friends. And also, the reason I joined was because I knew I needed to leave the house more often. And my CrossFit gym is too far away. It's like more than 20 minutes. And so getting there and back in the morning adds too much time on my already very packed morning. I have 2 dogs that have to get walked, a kid that needs to go to school, all the things. So this one's in town, and I have a very good friend. Actually, I know a lot of people who go there, and I have a very good friend who goes there. And so I said, you know what, I'm going to commit to going with Jenny, and Jenny's going to love this. So Jenny and I go every Monday and Thursday. And Jenny always leaves class before I do because she has a 1-year-old and she has to roll so that her husband can come work out. So I stay for like the core part or whatever. So she leaves and she always says, okay, book your next class. And so we get out our phones and we book the next Monday or Thursday, whichever it is, because the 6:15 always fills up. So you book right away. But she's my accountability person. And there's a lot of times where I keep thinking, I really probably would prefer to do CrossFit every day. But I go because Jenny's there and I like the workout enough. But it's so compelling to have a friend there and to have a routine with a friend. 100%, I would not go as often, or I would be probably a little bit more sporadic about when I go. Anyway, the BOGO is very powerful and I don't think it's used enough. I also want to suggest that we talk a lot about BOGO and referral programs in our Community Manager University. We have playbooks on how to run them, promotional materials that you can swipe, email series that you can just copy into your own MailChimp and use it. So if you're in the program, get in there and use it. And if you're not, this may be the reason to get in there and join because it's all there. But I think we just underuse the referral program and the attachment to a friend in behavior change. So I would suggest like the focus on like free Fridays, it's probably not moving the needle very much. unless people are bringing a friend. I don't think most people want to go to a co-working space on Friday. They're trying to work from home. They're trying to get appointments booked. They're trying to take a long weekend, whatever it is they're doing. It's not a good day to try a co-working space and do something totally new for a lot of people, unless it's totally working for you. But if it's not working that well for you, refocus on the bring a friend, the BOGO, the referral program. I don't think you can lose by letting friends give friends free time in your co-working space, unless you're full. But if you're not full, really be generous about giving your members a chance to get their friends involved. So that might be a free week, a free month, free meeting room use, whatever. But try to encourage that. And I think the summer can be a great time to do that. If people are in town, their routines are a little more flexible and they may feel like it's a good time to kind of, test a new routine. Okay, we talked about a lot here. So it's the end of February when I'm recording this. So summer's a few months away, but it's time to start thinking about how do you try to maintain your level of revenue through the summer or take advantage of a possible spike in revenue if you're in the kind of market that gets an influx in the population during the summer. So here are a few ideas that we just talked about. Get your virtual mail program started or dialed in. It's a great way to create predictable recurring revenue that doesn't disappear for the summer. Try creating an annual membership option to get folks to lock in for the year. And again, this might take some creativity. It might take some really awesome bundling ideas. Feel free to get somebody else involved in your brainstorming, jump into the Facebook group, join our operator membership, and see what you can come up with here. And it might not work on new members. It might be something that you upgrade existing members to on a recurring basis. But this might be a way to keep members engaged and not canceling their membership in July and August. Do something really compelling for the summer to get people to stay or draw people in who haven't been using a co-working space but could use a co-working space in the summer because their kids are home or they're home because they have a different, job situation during the summer. So create some sort of summer deal, flex pass, or a BOGO deal to attract those folks who might be looking for some solution over the summer. And of course, if you want help creating your own custom summer revenue strategy, you can sign up for a mentor. We're really focused on mentorship this year for both folks who are starting spaces and have existing spaces and know you could be generating more consistent revenue, or you're ready to get all your systems in place to expand to a new location. If that applies to you, book a discovery call with us at CoworkingMentorship.com. This call, by the way, is for owners who want to uplevel their business. It is not for community managers. If you're a community manager, our Community Manager University program is the place for you to get that professional development and coaching support. Okay, that's it for today. We'll see you same time, same place next week.